right, guys, you know what this means? It means that it's about time to start gardening. Oh my gosh, this stuff is ripe. It's warm. I just don't want you climbing on it, baby. It's yucky to climb on. That super soil is going to top off all of these beds. We'll put a few inches of that in every one of the garden beds before we replant it for spring. I can't tell you how happy this big stinky pile of soil makes me. So happy. This is my kind of Valentine.
Oh yeah, happy Valentine's Day. Bring all your friends over and have a Galentine's Day.
What, planting stuff in the soil? I'm thankful to say that I have the kind of friends that would think that's a fun time.
We should just do a crazy video where we just get like a half as much of the soil and just take all your extra seeds and just throw them out there.
Oh my gosh, that would give me anxiety. I want to introduce you guys to our friend Dan. We actually met Dan through YouTube. He messaged on our stuff. He would message on our lives and send us an email. They'd been watching our videos, and he and his wife had bought property, and they're like, hey, we think we're kind of out there by you guys. Turns out they're on the other end of the same street. So
1 mile away.
We're neighbors now, and Dan and Maya have actually been working together to get the soil out here. So they have a YouTube channel. It's called Pure Hearts.
Pure Hearts Homestead.
Pure Hearts Homestead. They're getting started, so I'm going to put a link below. Make sure you guys go check them out. I'm sure you'll see some of us on their channel and some of them on ours. Bear, are you guarding my soil? What a good dog you are. I'm going to try to mix some potting mix with that compost. Now that super soil is produced here locally. It's a place out in Scott, if you are local, off Faulkner Lake Road. We've been using that for a few years now, and man, it grows some plants. It's just really good, rich compost. We do make compost here, but not very much. I mean, I keep all of our scraps, but for the most part, the garden scraps go to the animals, and all of the bedding we just pile up and give it a year or so to break down, and then we do spread that out in the garden. However, our garden's really big, and so I think maybe if we were a little more intentional with our composting efforts, we could probably produce more of our own compost, but I don't know that we would be able to produce what we need, considering that's the main way we amend our soil. I'm really leaning more heavily this year into implementing like Charles Dowding's no-dig methods in my raised beds, as well as the areas where we're doing in-ground gardens. And in that method, that involves laying down a new layer of compost on top of what is there, not tilling, not doing anything like that. So we're gonna need a good bit of compost. That was a 7-yard load. That's probably going to be a lot of what we need, but we may end up getting another smaller load next time.
Love you, Mama.
I love you, baby. We're all outside wrapping up some projects before it gets cold and rainy again. Maya finished insulating the greenhouse yesterday. Oh goodness, he put in a heavy-duty little latchy thing. Gosh. He closed all of the gaps, and right now it is almost 70 degrees in here in the evening. You see all of these areas are insulated. I'm gonna watch it. We're supposed to actually, they're saying we might get some snow this weekend. So I'm going to kind of wait and see and continue my plan to start everything in the house. But I'm feeling really good about the prospect of being able to have some plants out here really soon. Also, is this space like magical or what? Look at this. I just want to come sit out here sometimes in the evening. If you've been here with me on this channel for very long, and if you've dug at all into anything else I do, you may know that I write. I've written for a magazine for several years, and I love to write. I am a word person, and I always have this like dialogue going in my mind of very wordy descriptions of things. And I don't know, like in my mind when I come in the greenhouse in the winter when it's cold outside, especially whenever there are plants in here, and lots of plants, when it's just full of life, I don't know, words like womb and sanctuary just come to mind. I think I have a soft spot for greenhouses. Hey. Y'all are silly. That's one way to use the garden carts.
I like doing that.
And here's my big beautiful pile of soil that you guys saw getting dumped earlier, but you did not see this getting dumped. Wood chips. Since we had access to the dump trailer, we were able to also get a big load of wood chips, which were free at a local municipality. A lot of times if you contact cities, they'll have those for free, but you do have to haul them, and that can get kind of tedious if you're doing it at a small truckload at a time. That's a lot of wood chips. We're gonna be able to get a lot done with that. Here's a dwarf tomato update. Just in a day, we've got lots of little sprouties. It's hard to tell with this purple light, but there are quite a few of them here. When plants are germinating, and it's just that time where literally in a single day they can go from being completely underground to bending up out of the ground and then standing up straight and opening those first little leaves. It's just an incredibly like amazing process to me because it's so fast. I mean, they just change so fast. I've come down here up 10 times today just to look, and every single time another cell has a sprout in it that didn't have one earlier. All of the seeds in the instance of these dwarf tomatoes came from swaps. You never know how old those seeds are that you're getting, and you don't really know what the germination rate is going to be. And so when I start little trays of seeds like this, I'm always excited for that first one of that variety to pop up because I know that I'll at least have one plant of that variety. Some of these, none have come up yet of that variety, but we still got time. I'm still holding out hope that I'll get at least one of each one of these really neat varieties. I actually ended up getting a lot of messages because when I planted these, I didn't list off the varieties that I was planting. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna say all that. That's probably tedious. You guys probably get tired of hearing me with my very long lists of things that I grow. But then I remember that you actually dig that, and it's one of the reasons why I love you so much. So I'm gonna go ahead and tell you what varieties I do have here of dwarf tomatoes. However, keep in mind that a lot of these came from swaps. My suggestion is if you're ever looking for a certain variety of something is to just put it in the Google search bar, and a lot of times one of those first few places that comes up is a seed store that sells it. So I've got the Joculus mini dwarf, and I'm probably saying that wrong. Wild spud leaf, Tennessee suited, Pinocchio orange, Tasmanian chocolate, silvery fir tree, tasty wine dwarf, golden gypsy, Mr. Snow dwarf, chocolate stripes, Arctic rose, and Hardin's miniature. And over here I've got a tray of mini bells. I had a lot of those seeds, so I started several of them in there, which of course I will separate those out once they have germinated. I've got to go feed my beautiful family dinner. I may try to sneak back down here later this evening and get some more seeds started. I have a few more grow lights to hang, and we moved a bunch of trays down, so I'm gearing up and ready to go. I'm ready for this whole shelf to just be covered with little seed cells that I can come down and check for those sprouts every day. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I'm so pumped having big piles of soil and wood chips and a ready to go greenhouse. It just does something for me. I'm so excited. Because we're here, it's almost time. Before you know it, we'll be sweating our butts off in the garden, completely overwhelmed with harvest, ready for a break, exhausted. It's gonna be wonderful. So close. I bless you guys. Until next time.